they probably have the worst team in the IPL this year. This is my opinion. I'm sure you will be picking one team that I will disagree with.
Of course.
And you've got 4 freaking leg spinners for what?
Hello and welcome to Siily Point. So today we're going to continue with our IPL preview series, and the next batch of teams that we're going to discuss are Rajasthan Royals and Kings XI Punjab. Obviously, Rajasthan won the first IPL, but since then they really haven't stepped up to do anything meaningful in the tournament. And similarly, Kings XI, they had a very good tournament in 2014, which was actually in UAE with Glenn Maxwell. So they are reuniting now this year. So that may be an interesting one. But let's see how they perform. And as always, I have G here to discuss both teams.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's enjoying our IPL previews, and really looking forward to this one because both Kings XI and Rajasthan are kind of those middling IPL teams.
Yeah.
They've done pretty well in seasons here and there, but consistently they haven't performed well.
So let's get into it straight away. Then let's start with the predicted starting 11 for Kings XI.
Yeah.
Obviously, we mentioned the big show, Maxwell making his return.
Yeah.
He'll obviously slot in the middle order,
Yeah.
coming off decent form. But again, let's take it from the top.
Yeah.
So who would you go with as their opening?
KL Rahul is a no-brainer. KL Rahul will open the batting, keep wickets, and captain. I'm actually really looking forward to his captaincy and see how he develops.
Yeah.
I think he has the ability to almost perform like Virat Kohli. Everyone knows that when Virat was given the captaincy, his batting improved significantly, and I'm expecting the same thing from KL. I think his partner, that's a big question mark for me personally, because you've got Chris Gayle.
Yeah.
Or you could go down the route of opening with Mayank Agarwal. I mean, if you go down the route of Chris Gayle, then you're probably limiting your options lower down in the order.
Yeah.
So maybe we can come back to the opening slot. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's eventually going to be a toss-up between Gale and Nicholas Pooran for that overseas spot.
I agree.
In the middle order, but we can come back to that. I think so. Rahul will definitely open.
Yeah.
And then Mandeep Singh will probably be
at number 3. Yeah. Again, their middle order can float a lot of the players. Maxwell can potentially bat 3 if they get a good start. Pooran as well can bat 3. But personally, as a starting point, as a base, Mandeep Singh at 3, Pooran at 4, and Maxwell at 5. I think that's a pretty good middle order.
Yeah, and then probably Sarfaraz Khan can play at 6. Heard lots of big things about him. There's a lot of questions when RCB retained him a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But he's come back in first class cricket and hit a couple of triple hundreds, hasn't he? So I think he's talked about. Yeah.
He's had a very good domestic series, but again, I'm not sure if. See, my opinion is that in a T20 you need 6 bowlers.
Yeah.
It's very easy for one bowler to have a bad day, and that's why I feel like someone like James Neesham can probably bat at 6 because he gives you that medium pace. He gives you the medium pace. He gives you he's a left-handed batsman. So again, left-right combinations there.
Number 7 again, it's probably one of the domestic all-rounders, right? So maybe someone like a Deepak Huda.
Well, I was actually going to pick Ravi Bishnoi, who did really well in the Under-19 World Cup. He's a leg spinner and he's a good bat as well.
I would have had him batted. I don't think he's going to bat at 7 though, is he?
Out of all the players that are available to Kings XI, the Indian all-rounder space, I think he's the best option. I mean, you could play Deepak Huda, but then Deepak Huda, you can't rely on him to give you 2 overs consistently. You could pick someone like Krishnappa Gautam.
Yeah, he's a leg spinner. He's a finger spinner, no?
He's an off spinner. Yes, he's an off spinner. Again, he's a power play bowler.
Yeah.
So he can open the bowling and he can hit those big shots towards the end. But again, it's about can he consistently give you that run output? Obviously, Ravi Bishnoi is untested, but then out of all these players I mentioned, he probably has got the most potential to fulfill that all rounder role.
Yeah, I actually am looking forward to Ravi Krishna. I would have had in my 11, but probably not at 7. But given the options we have, I'm really
Yeah,
looking forward to seeing him. I like mentioned in one of our previous episodes,
yeah,
the young under 19 players, and we'll come on to Rajasthan as well.
yeah,
The young under 19 talent that they have also. So looking forward to Ravi Bishnoi. So yeah, probably him at 7.
yeah.
Um, and
And
then I
then
mean they have a very because they don't have decent bowling. I mean Chris Jordan is the only one, but I don't think he'll start.
no,
I think their
well,
overseas option has to be Mujib, right?
it has to be Mujib. I mean, you can't look beyond Mujib. I mean, he got a lot of wickets in the CPL as well.
Yeah,
So I don't think that you can look beyond Mujibur
yeah,
Rahman to start for sure.
yeah,
And so yeah, Mujib at 8, and then you've got three positions to
yeah,
fill with bowlers. Obviously, Mohammad Shami has to be
yeah,
in there. For his sheer pace, his ability to bowl at the death, to bowl the
yeah,
Yorkers. So he's a shoe in. And then another young bowler, Ishan Porel. I think I'd go with him. He's had a very good domestic series with Bengal.
yeah,
The last 2 years he's done really well for Bengal. He's actually become their lead bowler at the age of
hmm?
21. So I think he would definitely slot in as one of the bowlers. Um, and then you've got space for one more bowler,
Yeah,
and I think that's a toss up. I mean, you've got a few options. You can play someone like an Arshdeep Singh, who's a left arm medium pacer.
yeah,
He's again 20 years old. Personally, I haven't seen much of him.
yeah.
You could play Murugan Ashwin,
Yeah, I thought he
who's
was probably
a
the
spinner.
favorite to start. Yeah, I thought but then they have too many spin options now anyway, right? So
Well, I mean, I was going to say that in the UAE, that it would make sense for teams to try and play three spinners if they have the
yeah,
space. So I
true.
mean, if you maybe play Murugan Ashwin, then you've
Yeah,
got three spinners and three medium pacers, which is a good balance.
yeah.
So
Well, technically four with Maxwell as a spinner as well, right?
of
So
course you've got
yeah,
Maxwell as well. So he's improved his bowling significantly
yeah.
over
Yeah,
over the last
we've
over the
seen in
last 12 months.
The England series, he's probably
Yeah,
been one of in the T20s at least. He was very effective.
yeah.
Um, so then, well, that brings us back to the original question of Chris Gale. Will he open? But he can't now because we've already picked
I
our.
mean, yeah. I don't know what you think. Like my personal opinion is to start off with, Kings 11 should go in with this kind of team because it's more balanced.
I
He
mean, I
did
think
really well.
I mean, they could play either Karun Nair in the middle order for Puran and then open with Gale, right? But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
The only problem again that means that then they have to open with Mayank Agarwal.
yeah.
I'm not sure about his T20 credentials. I mean, you probably know better, but I mean, he's a very good Test batsman. But I don't know, especially with him and KL. I mean, KL Rahul is a phenomenal T20 player, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but
I
both of
mean,
them opening, I'm not convinced to be honest.
uh, I guess with Mayank Agarwal as well, he started out as a T20 player.
Yeah.
He was picked in the RCB squad way back in, I think, 2010, and
Mm-hmm.
he used to bat number 6. And, his whole career initially was built around the T20s and the
Yeah.
ODIs, but he's improved his test batting. And I was just watching some clips of him batting in the nets,
Yeah.
and he really looks ready. He looks
Yeah.
ready for the IPL. He looks ready to, open a bat at number 3. Either way, I think it's fine, but I think he's ready to take on the bowlers.
Yeah. Okay. So let's log that in for as our predicted 11, and that's a bit of a shock. But Chris Gale sitting out.
Well,
Uh,
Gale will definitely get a couple of games, and imagine having someone like Chris Gale
on
coming in
the
as a replacement
yeah.
is incredible.
Yeah, true, true. But I think coming on to the replacement option, I think
Yeah,
they aren't the strongest. We've mentioned their bowling options.
I mean, they
Uh,
obviously have the salute king Sheldon Cottrell.
yeah,
Again, there's an option there if you get a wicket that will seam first
yeah,
up or something like that. You can always play him in place of Mujib. Um, They've also got, like I mentioned, Arshdeep Singh, who's a
yeah,
left armer, young left armer. Um, they've got a few spin options actually. They've stacked their bowling with
yeah,
spin. They've got Jay Suchit, who's played for Mumbai. I
yeah,
think he's won the title with Mumbai in 2015. So
mm,
another left armer. They've got another slow left arm bowler in Harpreet Brar, who's left arm orthodox. They've obviously got Chris Jordan, Deepak Huda, Karun Nair, Sarfraz Khan. So a lot of domestic
yeah,
Indian options. Um, like personally, I think we discussed this last time. We said that, my top five at least is almost there. The only team missing was Kings XI for me. I think they'll make it to the top four. I think they've got a very balanced side. They've got a good mix of overseas and Indian players. And if, Maxwell or Puran comes good, sky's the limit.
Yeah, I will disagree with you. Of course, I don't. I think I'd see them. I had Sunrisers at 5, so I'll have them at 6 probably.
Okay.
Because I think they have. We've mentioned obviously they're overseas players, but I don't think they're very reliable. Maxwell will not consistently. He had that one exceptional IPL. Obviously, about 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I think he is inconsistent, and that's just the way he is. KL Rahul, obviously, a lot depends on him. I'm not sure with captaincy and keeping and opening, can he do all of it to the level required to make it to the top 4? And also, we mentioned their lack of quality or lack of depth in their pace bowling. So for me, that's why I don't think they'll make it. Apologies to Punjab fans, but
everyone has their own opinion. But my opinion is that KL Rahul is going to captain for the first time, but I have full faith in him, and I have full faith in Anil Kumble to say, okay, fine. If you think that you have too much burden on you, you can get Nicholas Puran to keep.
Yeah,
he can keep, and then KL can carry on with his captaincy. So I have faith in Kumble to say, okay, if things aren't working, let's move things around to make sure that they are. So that's why I have full faith in them, and my key player to watch out will be KL Rahul. No one, no one other than him to kind of take Punjab to the next level.
Of course, yeah. And for me, the key player, it has to be Mujib. I think he's a big, like similar, I mentioned Rashid Khan for Sunrisers.
Yeah.
Not just because he's also from Afghanistan, but also because if he has a bad day with the ball, if he goes 4 or 40, then then you're really struggling. I mean, Bishnoi, we've mentioned, he's young, he's got a lot of talent, but he's still very young. So you can't really rely on him week in, week out. So I think Mujib has a lot on his shoulders. So if he has a bad day, then it could be a bad one for Kings 11.
I agree. I'm sure you will be picking one team that I will disagree with.
Of course.
And I think I know what team that is. So stay tuned for the next episode to know what that team is. I know what it is.
Of course.
We'll reveal it, and I've got my reservations about that.
I think if our Siily Point fans have been watching our previous episodes, they have a very, very good idea of who that team is. But anyways, let's move on to Rajasthan.
Let me just put it out there. Before we start with Rajasthan, I feel like they probably have the worst team in the IPL this year. This is my opinion. Apologies to any Rajasthan fans out there.
A team with Buttler, Stokes, Archer, who won the World Cup, are apparently the worst team in the IPL.
I can, obviously I can give my reasons as to why I feel that's the case. And maybe we just start off with we can talk about predicted 11s and their bench strength, and then I can explain to you why I feel that way. So, opening the batting, obviously Buttler, no two ways about that. Potentially he can keep. They probably will go with Sanju Samson in the 11 as well. So you have a few options there. Buttler or Samson can keep.
Buttler and Jaiswal, right? Yeah.
Jaiswal. I mean, they have Robin Uthappa. But
Manan Vora also, he was pretty good a few years ago. He's not the same anymore, I think.
He was good when he played for Punjab, but then again, he used to open the batting. But I don't see him in this Rajasthan side. I don't see him batting anywhere in the top 4, actually. Because I think those numbers are pretty set in stone.
Yeah, looking forward to Jaiswal, obviously. Another under 19 talent.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he has a good IPL.
I hope so too, and I hope they don't go with Uthappa. Uthappa is obviously very experienced, but I would just go with Jaiswal. Give him the opportunity to get set in straight away, and obviously if he doesn't perform, then you bring in Uthappa. Simple,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Steve Smith at 3.
Steve Smith at 3 and Sanju Samson at 4.
Yeah.
I think that is pretty much set in stone.
Yeah. And then the big question, right? If Ben Stokes, is he going to play or not?
My personal opinion is that he's not going to play. Obviously, Andrew McDonald, who's the Rajasthan Royals coach, he just said a couple of hours back that he hasn't heard anything back from Ben. So there's no confirmation yet either way. So my opinion is that he's probably not going to be there at least for the first half, which is a very, very big blow for Rajasthan.
Yeah, no, that upsets them. I think that could be the difference between them actually making it and not. I think that my prediction, overall prediction on them is dependent on Ben Stokes' availability actually. But if he doesn't play, then I mean, is David Miller still? He's a decent replacement, I guess. No, I mean
he's a good replacement from a batting perspective.
Yeah,
you wouldn't call him an equal replacement.
Of course not. Yeah,
No one can compare him to no one can be compared to Stokes at the moment, but he's a decent enough replacement at number 5. So I would go with Miller.
And then at 6, I mean they've got a few Indian options.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most of them are actually more are top order options, right? So someone like Rayan Prag.
So Riyan Prayag in the previous IPL, he kind of batted 5-6. So he is the most likely option to bat at 6, in my opinion. He did quite well with the opportunities he got. He played some good crucial knocks under pressure, and he can bowl. Apparently, he also bowls some mystery spin. I think he bowls seam up deliveries, off spin, leg spin, everything. So I would go down the route of playing Riyan Prayag at number 6. You do have a few options. You can play Manan Vora at 6 as well, but then he's a pure batsman. I think you need some, like I said, you need 6 bowlers. You need some spare bowlers in there to help you.
Especially with no Stokes, they can't really
take with no Stokes, exactly. And then you could play someone like Mahipal Lomror, who's a left armer. Again, he's a big hitter, and maybe he might come in at 7, because again I don't see very many all-round options, Indian all-round options in the Rajasthan Royals squad. So maybe Mahipal Lomlor to bat at 7.
Yeah, or Shreyas Gopal.
I mean, I think Lomlor is a better batsman than Gopal.
Yeah, true.
So and you get that left arm option as well. So you can pick him at 7, and then Gopal at 8.
Yeah, true. And then number 9, Jofra Archer, probably he's going to be their foreign fast bowler.
Yeah.
Although Andrew Tye has a very good record. He's a good fast Yorker bowler. I think he won the purple cap a couple of years ago, didn't he?
That was in 2018 when he played for Kings XI. Yeah, I mean, more than a Yorker bowler, he's a slower ball bowler.
Yeah.
He bowls a lot of variation at the death. So he's a good option, obviously. They've also got Tom Curran. So again, Tom Curran is a very good option as well, I feel.
My issue with Archer is he's been very good in the last couple of games against Australia.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how effective he's going to be on the UAE pitches.
I agree.
Especially because he relies on a lot of pace. Maybe, and that's why maybe they'll definitely start with him. But if it doesn't work, then they have Tom Curran as a very good option.
Yeah.
Who can vary his pace, bowl those cutters, slower balls.
I mean, the thing with Archer is, literally, I just read an interview, where he said that I have really struggled from a mental and physical point of view in the biosecure bubble. So he's the player who spent the most amount of time in a bubble. I think something like 87 days.
Well, he broke it once as well.
he broke it once, and that was inadvertent. That wasn't done on purpose. But he has spent the most amount of time, and he has actually said that he struggled in the Test series because of the fact that he was cooped up for such a long time. So again, I don't know how he's going to feel coming into the IPL. He's going to play for sure, but I don't know how he's going to feel and how that's going to affect his performance. So good option to have Tom Curran in there.
Yeah, exactly. And again, they have Andrew Tye or Shane Thomas, who are again fast-paced bowlers.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure they'll play ahead of Archer.
Yeah.
And they have decent Indian fast bowling options.
Yeah.
I hope they play Karthik Tyagi. He's another of this under 19
player. Yeah.
So I really hope they give him a go. And obviously they'll play.
My sincere hope to the Rajasthan management is that they don't play Jaydev Unadkat.
They have to play him, isn't it? Wasn't he like their most expensive buy a few years ago?
He was. So what they did was they bought him, I think 2 years in a row they bought him and spent a lot of money. But then this year they let him go. So in 2018, at the end of the 2018 season, they let him go, and then they bought him back at a much, much cheaper price. So obviously there's less pressure on him for him to perform. But I don't see,
But then do they play Varun Aaron or do they play a spinner?
I would go with, so my opinion, so at number 10 and 11, I would go with maybe someone like Mayank Markande and Varun Aaron.
So you wouldn't play Karthik Tyagi then?
So I wouldn't, to start off with, I wouldn't play Karthik Tyagi. Again, you could go either way, because you've got Varun Aaron, Jaydev Unadkat, you've got Karthik Tyagi and Akash Singh, who both are very good under 19 bowlers. So you've got lots of options there. But maybe you can go down the route of playing Varun Aaron for sure, and then instead of Mayank Markande, if you want, you can play a pacer. But then this comes down to my point about Rajasthan. They basically have got 4 leg spinners in their squad. They've got Mayank Markande, who's been traded in from Mumbai. They've got Rahul Tewatia, who's been traded in from Delhi. They already had Shreyas Gopal, and they have Riyan Prayag. So they've got
and they have Steve Smith also.
And they have Steve Smith. They've got 4 freaking leg spinners for what? And along with that, right, they've got 4 foreign medium pacers. They've got Jofra Archer, they've got Tom Curran, they've got Andrew Tye, and they've got O'Shane Thomas.
And Ben Stokes.
And bench, I don't get it. So that's why I feel like they've got such a lopsided squad. And I don't know, maybe the reason they're playing these 4-5 leg spinners is because Shane Warne is their mentor. He's been reappointed the mentor. So,
maybe.
And suddenly now, with no Ben Stokes in there, they're like, oh my God, what do we do?
I think they'll have a 50-50. They'll be very hit and miss. Through, I mean, we've discussed, what options they have of the bench. Again, there isn't a lot of, say, flexibility in that team, and which is why I think they might have very good games, but like you mentioned, if and in the batting, I think if Buttler flops, which he has been in the Australia series,
they're going to struggle.
Then they are going to struggle.
I mean, again, we've already mentioned, Royals, they love to pick these young Indian players, these uncapped Indian players. So you've got Akash Singh, you've got Karthik Tyagi, you've got a hard-hitting batsman called, you've got Jaiswal, you've got Shashank Singh, who's a very hard-hitting batsman. You've got a guy called Anuj Rawat, who's 20 years old. He's a wicket-keeper. So you've got lots of options there, but all of them are untested. And like I said, at least 3 or 4 of their overseas players are coming off, either who haven't played enough recently, or they're coming off with bad form on their side. So, I see Rajasthan finishing 7th or 8th.
Well, if you mentioned the worst team, then you probably are going
yeah, 7th or 8th. And
I don't know. I mean, for me, I don't think they'll make it to the top 4. If Ben Stokes is fully available, I don't think he is. Or if he's available for like 12 games, and I think they might sneak in. But overall, I don't see them, in the top 4. I think 6th or 7th. I mean, I had Kings XI at 6, maybe Rajasthan at 7.
Fair enough. And player to watch out for?
Jos Buttler. You can't pick anyone else. It has to be. Again, I go with the players who, I think if they fail, then the team completely collapses.
No, I agree. Jos Buttler, certainly. And I guess someone like Shreyas Gopal. Because, he's done well in the previous IPL. And he always tends to get very the big match players out. So, just for that ability, someone like him, I hope he has a good IPL.
No, I agree. I hope he does, and of course we mentioned Jaiswal. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. I hope he has a good IPL, 500 plus runs. But let's see how it goes. So that's our episode. I've been very, very negative on both teams today.
So have I. I've been very positive on one team and very negative on one team.
So, but let us know your thoughts. Have we been too harsh on Rajasthan and Kings XI? What do you rate their chances as, and who do you think should start for both of these teams? And are you looking forward to the young Indian talent coming through? So let us know in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And thank you for watching.
Thank you.